Alright, I'm going to try and do this quickly. This was just a few more bits and bobs, a few more dribs and drabs of stuff that tied in with Madonna that I've just, bits that I've forgotten to mention, or bits that kind of I thought, ooh, this is kind of interesting, and I just didn't get it in the video for the last few videos that I've done. So anyway, I've mentioned in passing about Madonna croaking on 7/12. Okay, there was the main reason really was a number jump, and I don't have it. I'll go to it in just a second, but it involved my old telephone number. Okay, when I was a kid. So it was something interesting, something that just drew me to the date. Anyway, I've been doing a bit of number doodling, and I found this little number jump here, which I thought was really interesting because Madonna has a bunch of 9/4 references, or 4/9 references. Okay, so if we go to that date, which of course is the day after the eclipse. How do I explain this? 4/8 and 4/9 for new people. Those two numbers are sort of key numbers within one of my decode charts, and the other thing with 4/9 is it's a date that shows up in the dollar bill for maybe something to do with the Hoover Dam or resurrection of man, so to speak. Okay, something to do with that kind of an event or the rebirth of man. Okay, so I thought this was just interesting that a date that I'd looked at here for Madonna, going from 4/9, happened to be 94 days. So this already was really interesting, and obviously you could potentially do this and drop one off, and we're back to Shelley Duvall's death date here. So this is kind of, again, with the whether you include the end date or not is, it's just one of those things, whether to include it or not. Just, I guess, personal preference maybe. I'm not sure really whether it should be included or not. It just makes things work sometimes, and sometimes it just gives you another option, I guess, for making something work, which is kind of cheating, isn't it? But anyway, so this was interesting, right? Okay, that was a cute little number jump there. Okay, and there was a couple other things that I spotted, right? And I want to show you this other number jump before I forget about it, and then I'll show you something else that was interesting. Oh, the 331. Okay, so this is from Madonna's birthday through to this date today, right? The 12th of July. It's 331 days. Now, just bear that in mind. I don't know if I have the chart up. Boy, this is kind of difficult to explain right now, but just keep that in the back of your mind. 331 days, okay? And I'll mention it again later, hopefully, if I don't forget. Another little number jump. Let me show you this one from Madonna's birthday back in 1958. Okay, and this is my old telephone number. If we read to the center of this, 2724 is my old childhood telephone number. When we still had rotary phones and all that good stuff. Yeah, that was the number. Yeah, minus the zero. The zero wasn't in there. It was just 2724. So this is interesting with reading to the center line here. I just, for some reason, so from there it takes you to the 7/12 date, right? But for some reason I'm like, I wonder if you just flip that around, where it would come out. If I use the same set of numbers but just flipped them. So I did 27042, yeah? So let's do 27042, right? And I already know where it comes out, so I'll just click it in here. So you're already probably getting this. And I can't remember what year it was. Here we go. Oh. So here it is, 27042. Okay, and now what you'll notice is the date, the Michael Jackson birthday here, 8/29. I know the year is just, way out there, but the point is that it kind of, again, it just ties back in with, the Queen of Pop to the King of Pop, and Michael Jackson is very, very important with all this stuff. And I just thought that was interesting, right? It's a bit like that Donald Trump one, which I showed you in the other video, which ties us back into the date 9/4. And would I put it in here? Because I don't think I have it up, but we could just put it in. Hang on. Let's see. Oh no, it's painful. Sorry. And we want to go to, where do we want to go to? I'll show you. 2020. Oh, gosh damn, come on. And we want to go to 9. So this was the interesting Donald Trump number that projects out from his birthday through to 9/4, again with the 9/4. It's in the dollar bill, where Washington's head rises up out of the dam he's birthed, and of course this ties in with Labor Day in 2028. The 30,033 day number jump, the threes, yeah, like the resurrection, the death and resurrection of Jesus, right? Notice the 8282 reference. Of course, Madonna has that 8228 in Ghost Town, and again, it's echoed again with the year here, the 28. So it's pretty. I'm going to say that's fairly mental. That was the other. What do we have here? Some other bits and bobs. I'm not so keen on doing a whole bunch of other numbers there. Anyway, so the idea of having a date that maybe nothing happens on that date, maybe something does happen on that date, maybe that is the date, or maybe it's just that taking a number and projecting out, taking an interesting number and projecting out into just the far distant future, gives us some tiebacks to certain key dates. I don't know if that's something that's just reaching, or whether it's got a little bit of merit to it or not. I don't know. Anyway, while I was on the topic of this, I was thinking, I can't even remember the video that I watched, and somebody mentioned, or maybe it was just even a thumbnail I saw. I can't remember what it was, but it was something to do with the Biden car crash. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to look that up because of, in some of the Madonna stuff, like the Guy Ritchie video for, I can't remember what it feels like for a girl, whatever. She has the car crash and dies. And then, of course, the one I just recently watched was Goldmember, where the car explodes. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Let me just go and look and see if there's any connections with that event, the car crash. Okay, and so I don't even know if I have it up here now. Where is it? The death. Okay, so December the 18th. Anyway, I wasn't really interested in those numbers of the actual car crash. What actually happened was, when I looked at it straight away, I saw this July 28th for Joe's deceased wife, right? Now, the reason why that date is interesting, we're going to go to the chart of Lorraine, and I'm going to show you why 728 ties in with all this stuff. And we've also got the 42 at the end of it, which was kind of interesting. But what was more interesting about this car crash and the tie back to Goldmember, I think that's what I said before, but the tie back to Goldmember is that the kids were in the car, and the two, I guess the daughter died, but the two sons, yeah, Dr. Evil and Austin Powers and Austin, okay, they survived the car crash. These two survived the car crash. Yeah, and in Austin Powers, the two, twin similars and the two males survive the explosion in the, um, with the car, where Madonna's getting killed. And I just thought it was interesting with the idea of this date here tying in really nicely with this date today. I was looking out for Madonna. It's just a weird little thing. So if we go to, what will I go to? Let's go to. I've got her name in here. I don't know how to say that. Nelia. Where did I put it? Maybe here. So the first thing to note was her name. I just got rid of the middle name and just did the first and last. 84, 84 with the eclipse, right? So this is really not. This is interesting with the tie back with that jump now from 4-9 to the 12th, and then the 2-1-3, and all this tie-in with the upcoming murder, death, kill day of the 18th of July. So this is, again, blimmin' hell, I just thought that was interesting with those numbers. Just happened to pop up there with her name. What was the other thing I wanted to mention? Blimmin' hell, I've completely forgotten now. So that was, what else was there? I didn't really have anything else, I don't think. I guess I could have done a few more number jumps, but I just thought, well, let's just keep this video fairly short and not go too crazy. So I guess the last thing to do is let's go to the chart, and I want to show you actually. What do I want to show you? Okay, actually I don't know what I want to show you here. I want to show you, right, okay, what I've got going on here, as I really needed to show you the clock tower before I started in on this, but we can just draw the clock tower in very, very quickly. Okay, and I'll just remind people of what's going on with the clock tower here with the number 14, with the 10:04 in Back to the Future, and on the face of the clock, this is the clock tower. I'll go back to some of my other decodes if you're new. If we put the hands in, kind of very roughly, 10:04. I know 4's probably up here a bit more, but they kind of point to 718. Okay, so this 14 reference again is super duper important, right? And it references an awful lot of, it references the end, the completion of this cycle, which is this pi cycle, and through this total here. It's also, one of the center points of the cycle. It's also at the beginning of the cycle with the 14. It's also hidden in this chart, because what I've got written down here is in the purple scribbled in is 2 rows in here that I don't normally have in the chart. Okay, when I first built the chart, I didn't have that 4 row in there. Okay, subsequently I put it in just to see what the numbers were and whether they were interesting or not. But of course, when you add in another row, it messes up the original totals, which are here in green. And that was the thing that really shone out for me, was the totals of 55 and 88 when I first built the chart. Okay, but when you do add this 4 row in, you get a new set of totals. And what you'll notice is this 4 row, okay, starts with 14 again, and then you'll notice that the new set of totals starts with Trump's birthday. It starts with a 14 again, but we've got Trump's birthday in here. So this is, again, it's, I don't know, it's just mental, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, those numbers that I was looking at for Madonna happen to be at least scrambled right here at the center. These, all these numbers that sort of are in here are a little bit more, I don't know, I think they're all important, but these are really the 2 columns here to do with balance within the table. And so we've got the scrambled version of the 12th of July there, okay, which again is kind of important with what we just had, because it still ties in, that number still ties in with 711 going back this way, which is pretty interesting, because the 711 up here in Lucas numbers, again, there's the 213 with Nelia Biden's gematria, and again that ties in right here with the 187, right? And it also ties in with the 49, okay? But you can see, this is pretty interesting. Here's another 28 reference again as well, which is also really, really interesting. You can see how these numbers just fold them back in on themselves. So this is all tying together here with the recent event yesterday, and maybe something today, or maybe something with Madonna today. And if we go down to the totals, which is also really important because of the Donald Trump down here, we can see that we can actually pick this number out, right here. If we read that note, if we put a line through the 116 here and we read this back, okay, 127, okay, we've got 12/7 there, okay, which is today's date. And what's remainder here is the 16, the 16 obviously ties in extremely well with Madonna, because it's the start of phi. It's the start of those kind of golden ratio numbers with phi. I know I'm not saying that right, but it's that sequence of phi. Okay. I tell you what else is interesting as well, is when you look at this now and you're thinking about Biden and Donald Trump. What is interesting with these numbers that ties into Biden's first wife. Oh yeah, that's why it ties in. Sorry, I probably didn't even say that. Let me just show you. I'll get rid of some of this so it's a bit easier to see. If I don't get rid of it, we'll be getting really confused. But those numbers there, the 28, there's our 28. What's the oh shoot? Let me just double check that I'm getting that right before. Yeah, it was the 28th of July. Okay, so her birthday, the 28th of July. Again, you see how that tied in there, with those same numbers, yeah, because the 28th of July is right here. So it's just interesting with the car crash with Madonna, a similar kind of thing with the two lads getting surviving the car crash in Goldmember and in real life with that Biden car crash. So that's interesting. And then the tie-in down here as well with the same numbers, and they happen to be in the right order. And so we were looking at this, and we were looking at sort of these ones. And then what's interesting is on one side of it is 45, yeah, Trump's the 45th, and he's probably going to be the 47th. So this is it's kind of mental, really, the way those numbers kind of are close by each other there, and sort of next, adjacent and sort of overlapping with one another. Was there something else I was going to say? I can't remember now. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. Last thing. When we go to the dartboard, you put the cross in for Madonna with the one with her birthday here, 8/16, which is opposite pi, which is really, really important with the number 14. And then what we've got opposite, if we put the cross in, what we have is 521 here, which again 521 is these numbers right here are an abbreviation of Christmas, 1225, and also again back to the chart of Lorraine, 521 re-references 213. I might just show you that just real quick, but here we go. Here's the 172 here. Okay, those numbers right there. Okay, so I know they're not quite in the right, they're not in the right order, but they're right here. Okay. What else was I gonna? There was something, didn't I say? Oh yeah, there was something I said. Don't forget about that, and I did forget about it. But I'll show you it now with the. Can't remember what the number was now. Okay, well I'll show you anyway. It was the 331. What was it from? It was the number jump from Madonna's birthday through to this day, wasn't it? Something like that. Anyway, 331 is in the chart right here. What is fascinating is, let's go back now. Let's just look what's opposite that, right? So that, this is the center right here. Here's, hang on a minute. Let's just do this a little bbit neater. So here's that 331 cutting into here. Look what's coming off of there, the 187. Again, Madonna has other tiebacks to the 187. There is a 197 there as well, which I'm not concerned with right this second. But opposite the 331, okay, is these two numbers, 23 and 53. I'm pretty sure those were the numbers. Let's go to it and have a look. I'm going to show you now. So remember 23 and 53, and let's go to the two that survived. Bo, born. Ah, yeah, maybe it was just Bo. 2, 3. Okay, died 5, 3. Okay, 2, 3 and 5, 3 that we're just seeing right there. That was pretty interesting as well, with that tie in there with, and it just only ties through Goldmember, really, that car crash thing. But it was just interesting. Anyway, I'm leaving it there. That was too much waffle. Again, nothing will probably happen, so but it's just kind of it's weird stuff. Oh yeah, remember the other thing was about that date. The date today was, it tied back in with, and if something happens I'll show you that again, but it tied back in with the 6/22 date that was the balance date between Madonna and Billy Idol, the two palindrome number jumps. So anyway, too much stuff to get to talk about really, but it'll probably amount to nothing. Anyway, obviously if something did happen, right, maybe that would be an indicator back to the 187 again. Stake coming up with 187. So yeah. Anyway, all right. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.